Hey guys. My name is Ryan, and I'm the guy that's behind the camera from Defect Detector Rail videos, and I've invited my good friends Hayden and Austin over here to see the layout that I have in my basement. As you can probably tell by now, I'm favoring Conrail just a little bit. Not much, but just a little bit. So, let me show you some operations here in a second. Yep, this is my SD80 Mac. One of my favorite things I own here. Made by Kato or Kato, however you want to pronounce it. I have that hooked up with the SD70 Mac, another Kato locomotive. This I found at the Springfield train show for a really good price, even though it's missing the front number boards. It was something that you really couldn't, there's no lose situation. So as you can see, yeah, there's the Union Pacific C40-8. I figured I should have at least some foreign power from the 90s on the layout, and so that one fit perfectly when I saw it. So this is the Conrail layout. Several things are here. I also have some older trains here. I got some New York Central coach cars here if I ever want to run an excursion train on the main line. Yeah, there's people in there. They're pretty nice. They don't light up, but I don't care. They still look pretty good, in my opinion. And one other cool thing I've been trying to work on, at least maybe for a year, is my Conrail work train. And the work train is in the middle with all the gray hopper cars and gondolas. I also put the caboose on there. I know the last gray car is a ballast car, but I don't think two cars on the work train was long enough. So I'll just use that temporarily before I can somehow find yet another work train car. So that's all for now, and we'll get to the freight train operations. Alright, so this is another part of the layout. This is the newest addition to the layout, actually. Even though it wasn't completed yesterday, it was probably the last thing that was added onto the layout. And this is the yard here. I call this Stockton Yard. For Stockton has no significance at all. It's just a name that I picked and I liked and I thought of. So this is the Stockton Yard. I got some special things in here I wouldn't put up just for the layout thing. Obviously one of them being the Operation Lifesaver GP 38-2. That's an old Athearn unit. Despite it being an old Athearn unit, it still does run pretty good. I've been able to maintain it and clean the wheels and whatnot. So at least that one runs still pretty good. I have no complaints. The other one over here is the other Jeep40 over here is number 2943, the Spirit of Conrail. This actually, I did some research, and this actually was Conrail actually never painted this engine. In 2002, Norfolk Southern actually at the time was painting some of the engines in Altoona in Conrail paint to go serve the Conrail shared assets areas, and this is one of them that they painted up as sort of like a Spirit of Conrail, just in memory and honor of that railroad, to go serve those areas that Conrail has in the shared assets in the New York, New Jersey, and Philadelphia, Detroit areas that Conrail has. Now obviously Norfolk Southern doesn't paint any more Conrail engines like this, as obviously now they're painting them white and black, and Norfolk Southern CSX regularly use their power for those Conrail areas. This engine over here was repainted into Norfolk Southern black, I think 2010, I believe, 2010 or 11. One of those 2 years it was painted over into the NS colors. So if you move it back here in the background is number 634, which is a CSX AC6000 or AC60 CW in the YN2 paint scheme. And this, I almost wish CSX almost did the same with all their engines. They kept the yellow CSX numbers with all their engines, but obviously I'm not the designer and paint scheme designer. But anyway, that's a paint scheme unique to CSX AC6000s only, with the yellow CSX numbers. And this is, I think, the most powerful locomotive built to date. Capable of generating over 6,000 horsepower. And this is a very, obviously not Conrail, but just a unique engine, one of my favorite engines, and it's got sound in it. The horn works very good. I will show you, hopefully I can show you that later, I don't know. And the last thing in the yard I want to show you is a classic vintage New York Central freight train. Let me move him out of the way for you. Featuring the New York Central Alco RS11 that was built probably, I think, late 50s to early 60s, probably mid-late 50s, and the rest of the train is all vintage, I shouldn't say vintage, but just classic, quote-unquote classic freight train from the 1950s. As you can see, the Santa Fe auto rack car, 1950s cars. That's just a special train I just put together for this. I may run it, I don't know. It'd be cool. It's like a kind of like a flashback in time. And anyway, so if you're moving around, I obviously put a couple of factories and industries in the background. My Conrail trail van cab and tractor trailer is making a delivery right now, as well as a KFC to the right, and just a bunch of other little fillers I could put back in there to kind of take up some space and make it look like a real industrial scene. The next project I want to hopefully get to is this little truck over here. Oops, this is a who made this? I don't know who made this. Forget. But anyway, basically what I want to do is that I want to find Conrail decals that I can hopefully stick on the door there and put them on each side of the truck and everything else, all my Conrail equipment. Okay, so one real quick thing before we start the operations and the layout is a sort of new heritage unit that I ordered from Intermountain, and was also a gift from my grandfather. It was very nice of him, I appreciate it, and I got this and it was brand new. It's got sound, and yes, as you can probably already tell, it's a Conrail heritage unit by Norfolk Southern. Very, very happy with this locomotive. I can't complain about it. Intermountain did a great job, thanks, with all the all the details. Very detailed locomotive. It's got the lock sound decoder in there, and I can't show you the horn and bell in this layout, but maybe my grandfather lives across the street, so we might go see his layout next, depending on if he can do it or not. I can run on there and do the horn and bell and all that. It's got sound in it. It's very, very nice locomotive that Intermountain came out with. And it's, again, one of the Norfolk Southern heritage engines, and Intermountain did, let's see, Intermountain did the 10 ES44 AC Gevos that Norfolk Southern painted, and this is the Conrail one they did. I'd like to have, obviously, more heritage, but that's going to come in the future, because my railroad's Conrail, and this is just something that I really couldn't pass up on getting. So, very nice engine. I'm very appreciative of it, and my grandfather for buying this for me for a gift. there's Conrail train number 1 with 3-8s on it. 3-8 wide cabs. And it should have 33 cars. Enjoy. This is train number 1 of 4. And you'll see the other 3 after this. Here's a Conrail work extra, and he is headed west.